good evening and welcome to News Tonight here on GHOne Television with me, Awisi, Dede, Djangay. Let's take a look at our headlines tonight. And tonight, all eyes on President Mahama for his next move as minorities' pressure heightens on Sammy Gyamfi, Nana Agradaa alleged dollar saga. And also in a bulletin, railway workers threaten to shut down operations over 7 months unpaid salaries.
Me bread. I'm a miracle with Jamie Cock. Essence is government. The same Banswa University. Mintimation is all Befi.
And on a bulletin, U.S. court slashes defamation damages in a NAS versus Kennedy Agyapong case from $18 million to $500. We'll tell you more on this. In business, local trading and producer groups intensify calls for members to reduce commodity prices following recent appreciation of the cedi. And on the international front, U.S. President Donald Trump says U.S.-China relations reset as markets surge on tariff costs. We have details of these and many more coming up shortly. Stay with me. Thank you so much for choosing us this evening. The news is coming to you live from our Platinum studio here in Accra, and it's also streaming live on Facebook at GH1 TV. My name is Awisi, Dede, Djangay. Tonight, U.S. government, U.S. court, I beg your pardon, has drastically reduced the $18 million in damages awarded against Asin Central MP Kennedy Agyapong to $500 following a defamation suit filed by Ghanaian investigative firm Tiger IPI. Now, the reduction comes after a motion was filed by Ken Agyapong urging the court to review what he described as an excessive award. The trial judge, ruling last month, agreed that while Mr. Agyapong had indeed maliciously defamed the plaintiff, the initial amount awarded by the jury was high. In a press release issued on May 11, 2025, Tiger IPI acknowledged the reduction but stressed that the essence of the case was never about financial compensation, but in the judgment. The investigative firm further stated its commitment to fighting corruption, adding that the outcome only strengthens its resolve to fight for truth and justice. Now, still on court, but in Ghana, Derek Abuaji-Asamoah, lawyer for actor Kofori, has denied allegations of fraud leveled against his client by the prosecution, asserting that the $50,000 at the center of the dispute has been paid in full. Kofori, who was arrested last on a court warrant following accusation by US-based Ghanaian, pleaded not guilty on Monday, May 12, and was subsequently granted bail in a sum of 320,000 cedis. There's more in this report.
The circuit court in Dansuma has granted bail to Samuel Seth Kwabnachere Kakari, popularly known as Kofori, in the sum of 320,000 Ghana cedis with 3 sureties. The sureties, the court said, should be justified. This is in connection with some allegation in relation to some $50,000 allegation of fraud. He's pleaded not guilty to the charge. Earlier, the court rescinded a bench warrant issued for his arrest ever since the criminal summons was issued on him. He was not showing up in court, leading to that particular bench warrant. But his lawyers led him to court today to have the bench warrant rescinded, and also his plea was taken in relation to the charge of defrauding by false pretense, which he pleaded not guilty. The court, presided over by her Anna, Mrs. Halima El Alawa Abdul Basit, has directed is that prosecution should file their disclosure processes and come back to court on June 25 for case management conference and further directions from the court. But counsel for Kofori has been speaking to the media, and his point is that his client has paid all the $50,000 in full and wonders why he is before the court now.
Kofori took $50,000 to purchase the land for the complainant, and out of the $50,000, at that time when the money came, it was 270,000 Ghana cedis, and so he used 160,000 Ghana cedis to purchase the land. As at that time, the exchange rate was 5.5, and so the amount he used was $30,000. And apart from that, he paid $1,000 to the complainant. Now, the issue in contention is the size of the land and the amount left to be paid to the complainant. And so he paid $5,000 to the complainant, and the amount left was $15,000. And the police is charging him for $50,000, of which he has paid the amount in full. And so I don't see why the police know very well that the amount has been paid, and you are still charging the person for the figure that has been used to procure the land for the complainant. That is our case. By any event, he has been granted bail, so that is all.
Until such time that the issue come up again in court, once Kofori satisfy all the bail conditions, he'll be reporting from home to the court. From the Dansuma Circuit Court here in Accra, with Alaidusa, GH1.
Now let's have our biggest story for tonight on Inside. Well, acting CEO of Gold Board, Sammy Gyamfi, has stirred public controversy, putting President Mahama and his government in what many describe as in a difficult position. What intended as a kind gesture has sparked a backlash, with some members of the public now calling for Sammy Gyamfi's dismissal. The calls come less than a week after the launch of a new code of conduct for government appointees. Now, the question is, will President Mahama act on these demands? There's more on this NewsX report.
Scores have waded in on the debate surrounding a cash donation made to evangelist Nana Agradaa. The situation escalated after the acting CEO of the Ghana Gold Board, Sammy Gyamfi, was summoned by the Chief of Staff. His action has attracted sharp criticism from the public and political analysts, many of whom argue it violates the spirit of the new code of conduct for public officials. However, anti-graft campaigner Adam Senanu believes that while the act was ethically questionable, it does not constitute a legal breach under the current code.
Well, yes, I would say it's in the right direction. I think it's important to note that he has not breached the Constitution, he has not breached any law, nor has he breached any policy. If you look at the Code of Conduct, it's an executive policy which does not even capture this kind of indiscretion. So perhaps at this point they may want to upgrade it and capture things that have to do with bringing the government into disrepute or ostentatious living. But to the extent that it's not reflected at the moment, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi hasn't breached anything.
Political science lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Jonathan Asante Autry, is urging President Mahama to reprimand Sammy Gyamfi to send a clear message to other appointees.
In the first place, he ought to have been a little more smarter than what he did. He's really set a very high standard for himself in the public domain, putting the MPP to the wedge and to the sword. Therefore, they will come hard at him for not setting the right ethical standards. So, obviously, my hesitation has been to wait for what the presidency will do, especially owing to the fact that the president has really set a high standard, not only for his appointees, but for all Ghanaians, irrespective of being directly or indirectly appointed by the president. So that is a huge call on the presidency.
Meanwhile, the recipient of the controversial donation, Nana Agradaa, has broken her silence on the matter.
And I'm a papa na kura na sing. If you ya me di ma mu free, would your mammy full well? Abusua muntio, a ya me wie ya no. Na Mrs. Sammy, ne kura na sing. Would you me fear ya me di ma mu? Would your mammy fuel? Now at least Miss Makuma and Tommy Yam. Now, Miss me charge more. A yisika bebre into mammy fuel. And a John phone a car to a phone a car. And a Miami Dinechi. Just walk for car and cram at the talent. And a Miami Dinechi. And a ja will ye the person and all kind dollars. Say, Miss 1,000 was the same. And all the mammy to the mammy and a ja. Miss Obaba, Miss Somu.
But how do ordinary Guineans feel about the issue? We took to the streets of Accra to sample public opinion.
He's just 4 months into office, and he's been able to dole out dollars to an individual. And so Sammy should be able to tell us within the 4 months how much his salary is, that he can give this amount of money to one person.
Sammy Gyamfi shouldn't be somebody that should be holding dollars in this country. He's the one in charge of Ghana's gold at the moment. So he should be the first person to always change his money into cedis. Since the Bank of Ghana is trying to eradicate the tendency of dollars as the second legal tender in this country, he shouldn't have done that.
If Sammy Gyamfi is having his money and he has decided to give it to Agradaa, that's a donation. Why not? But in one way or the other, I would say Agradaa is not someone who is all that poor, or she is not poor. If like he is looking for someone that to donate her, at least he can go to the streets of Accra. There are beggars, there are a whole lot of people there that he can decide to give them money.
The question is, why did he give her that money, and what for? There are lots of youth here who are unemployed, and they want some job, or even those on the streets. You can even give it to them to buy something to feed. So my question is, why did Sammy Gyamfi give Agradaa that kind of money?
So you had the section of the public reacting to that particular issue, but the NPP has waded into the controversy. They are calling for the immediate sanctions against Sammy Gyamfi and a full-scale investigation into the source of the dollar bills displayed in the viral video. Take a look.
We took to the streets of Accra to sample public opinion.
He's just 4 months into office, and he's been able to dole out dollars to an individual. And so Sammy should be able to tell us within the 4 months how much his salary is, that he can give this amount of money to one person.
Sammy Gyamfi shouldn't be somebody that should be holding dollars in this country. He's the one in charge of Ghana's gold at the moment. So he should be the first person to always change his money into cedis.
So earlier today, the NPP held a presser where they were demanding for further sanctions against Sammy Gyamfi and also asking for a full-scale investigation into the source of the dollar bill displayed in the viral video. And in that presser, Dr. Kabiru Mahama, MP for Wale Valley, was seen addressing the media. But thankfully, we have him in the studio and we want to understand what exactly his concerns are. Good to have you on the program.
Good to see you on the program too.
Well, let me not waste your time. Sammy Gyamfi before your presser issued an apology, and in the apology he described the action as a personal gift or a kind gesture. In your presser, you cited violation of the Foreign Exchange Act, Act 723, and this act, I'm sure, just prohibits the pricing, advertising and receipt or payment for goods and services in foreign currency. Now, since gifting, which Sammy Gyamfi stated in his apology, is not explicitly mentioned in the act, can you clarify how this law implies or applies in this context?
Well, so for the purposes of education, and before that, let me say good evening to you and to your cherished viewers. For the purposes of education, Foreign Exchange Act 2006, Act 724, under Section 3, talks about requirement of licenses. And if you read that section, it says, especially subsection 1 of that act, specify that no person shall be engaged or shall engage in the business of dealing in foreign currency without approval from the Bank of Ghana. That is what the law says. Now, it didn't stop there. Subsection 4 goes on to tell us what they mean by the business of dealing in foreign exchange. An amount that they say it includes receiving or payment in foreign currency, right? It didn't say the purpose, whether for goods and services, whether for whatever. It did not specify that, but they said that the business of dealing in foreign currency includes receiving or payment in foreign currency, all right? Whether it is gratuitous payment, whether it is for goods and services, the law prohibits any payment or any receiving of funds in foreign currency. And that is what the law says, explicitly, black and white. So one would have thought that Sammy Gyamfi, being a lawyer, would have averted his minds to this particular provision of the law. When I hear people say there's no wrong, there's no law violated, it's only a political indiscretion, I beg seriously to differ, because the Bank of Ghana issued notices warning people against holding dollar, trading and invoicing or pricing in dollar because they make their reference to this Foreign Exchange Act. There's no separate law guiding that. So the law is clear. People are saying that what he gave was a gift. Then it's not payment. Really? What is it? Giving money to someone and the person receiving it, is it not paying and receiving for whatever purpose?
So you're insisting he broke the law?
No, clearly, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi broke the law. And for me, I don't see why people are trying to. The problem with this was that there's enough literature to support any indiscretion. There's enough literature to support any wrongdoing. And that is the problem we are having in the country, because any wrong thing you do, there will be litany of plethora of literature for people to use to justify it, trying to find loopholes, even their own code of conduct. Clearly, what was demonstrated is opulence. But they are not saying that their code of conduct is not clear. There is all those semantics and all that is intended, or they are all intended to actually clean Mr. Sammy Gyamfi of any wrongdoing. I don't think it's appropriate. Look, the gentleman has acknowledged that he has done something wrong. As to what he terms the wrong is a different matter. He has apologized. He terms it a generous gift, which we all know from the street. Ordinary Ghanaian doesn't think that Agradaa deserved that generosity that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi said he was. Agradaa has a different version. He says that the house he gave them for free, if she was to charge them, it would be sikabibre. They cannot pay, right? So just give me something for free. So in the mind of Agradaa, there's a consideration. Okay, the money he's given or she's receiving is in lieu of something she has done for them in the past. In the mind of Sammy Gyamfi, you can say that there was no consideration. I was just only giving something as a gratuitous, out of my own generosity. You see? But whatever it is, even if it was $1, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi is holding and going to town with it. And he has no dollar, he has no Ghana city with him. And as a senior government, every Ghanaian should be concerned that he's holding and spreading and circulating dollar in the Ghanaian economy. Right? What it's basically doing is that it's increasing the circulation of United States dollar in the Ghanaian economy and making it a legal tender, contrary to the fact that the Ghanaian cedi is the only legal tender in Ghana. So these are the issues that we cannot glean. We cannot just say that, nothing was done.
Before I asked you to explain further on the type of sanctions you prefer, you are also asking for a full-scale investigation into the source of the dollar bills displayed in the viral video. How feasible is that?
Well, it's feasible because there's lifestyle audit that the president has even promised in their code of conduct that if a president is living a lifestyle that you think that it does not commensurate with the public officers or holder of certain office, you need to do audit. You did audit to see whether Mr. Sammy Gyamfi has some businesses that are fetching him dollars. And even if they were fetching him dollars, he has no right to spend it the way he was spending it. Clearly, he could change it to Ghana cedi and spend 1 million on someone, whatever.
One will argue that is his personal money.
That's what I'm saying. He could change it to Ghana cedi and spend it the way he wanted. Spending it in dollar is one of the problems. right? So aside that, you need to do audit and find out where the money is coming from, because that's only one of the only boards that were given dollars. As a matter of fact, $279 million were voted by us to that particular board as revolving fund. Who knows? It could be part of the money that he's already spending. But that was not the purpose we approved that money for. People argued, oh, Sammy Gyamfi is selling and buying gold, and that gold is bought in dollars. Right? Is that so? You cannot buy dollar in dollars. You cannot buy gold in dollars in Ghana. You buy it with the cedi equivalent. You then export it and then bring in dollar. If we're buying gold in dollar, then there's no sense setting up the gold board. It will not make sense because we are trying to make the value of the Ghana cedi go up. And he's everywhere saying that we want to increase foreign exchange. So you have to buy the dollar in Ghana cedi, export it, take dollar, and come and deposit it in the Bank of Ghana. So you have no business holding dollars. And you take cedi from the Bank of Ghana and go and buy the dollars. Go and buy the gold. So those people trying to justify that, oh, he's the leader and he's the one supposed to be buying gold and gold is priced in dollar, he should be having dollar, they don't know what they are talking about. We raised issue about Agradaa also paying taxes on the gear, and people thought it was ridiculous. Really? That their income tax law says that even gifts is supposed to be taxed on it. And someone is given an amount, allegedly $10,000. Even there are different schools of thought on the amount. But from all intent and purposes, the amount so given is more than $2,000. Because even if you follow the video and you follow the count, you will have realized that even from the time the video captured Mr. Sammy Gyamfi counting, you can count about 18 of the pieces before he took that and grabbed the remainder of the money. So people saying that it is $800, they are trying to insult the intelligence of the Ghanaian people.
But does the amount matter?
One, the amount doesn't matter to the extent that it is done in a currency that is prohibited from circulating in Ghana. That's one. Two, the amount also speaks to the fact that if someone could ask for fuel and someone is given an equivalent of 120,000 Ghana cedi for fuel, it speaks to the kind of lifestyle we are living.
You know, Doc, this act has been in existence for quite some time, and there are concerns of the NPP trying to politicize the issue because you didn't really have a problem with this when something of this sort or even bigger happened just a while back with Cecilia Dapart. So people are just concerned that the NPP is just trying to politicize the issue because it is Sammy Gyamfi and he is in the NDC.
No, it's not Sammy Gyamfi. In the first place, what's wrong did Cecilia Dapart did? Nothing. She kept dollar in the room, which we thought it was an offense to be holding dollar at a time that the city was what? Suffering. She didn't even display the dollar.
But
the dollar I'm keeping.
Is that a point?
The dollar that I'm keeping in my room, which is not appropriate, which is against the law, okay, she lost her job because of that. Someone stealing her money, on top of that, she lost her job.
But that is not the point. The fact that she had dollars in her house.
I agree. And I'm saying that. I agree. And that is why she lost her job. Okay? People cannot say, MPP was. Cecilia Dapart lost her job in the MPP government because of that. Now, are we seeing Mr. Sammy Gyamfi also losing his job?
Is that what you're asking for?
Basically, there must be, if you have to be fair to the both facts, this woman was even hiding it. There was not even opulence.
Is it about what is fair or what is right?
What is right is that the person acted in breach, Cecilia Dapart acted in breach of the Foreign Exchange Act, which we raised it at that time, and she lost her job. It is also right and proper that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi is made to understand that he has breached the same act, and there must be sanctions. Right? You cannot treat the same issue differently. Because the bottom line is that both of them were acting in a manner that does not sit down well with our fiscal policies, with our monetary policy, and with our existing laws.
Dr. Kabiru, just give me a second. We have a governance analyst on the phone line, Dr. Frederick Odro, who joins us on phone to have a conversation on this particular matter. Good to have you on the program, sir. Some have defended this act by Sammy Gyamfi as a simple act of generosity. Where can we draw the line between public officers' act of kindness and opulence?
Well, where we draw a line begins with, if my memory serves me right, barely 2 weeks ago,
Do I need to say?
when President Mahama was launching the Mahama Care Fund, he mentioned that he himself has not received any salary since he assumed office. And it stands to reason that knowing how our system works, it takes close to 6 months when people get employed to be put on the government payroll. So you begin by asking yourself, what is the source of the funds that were being paid or that was being given out? For me, the optics is not good at all. It can't be defended. Because here we have a situation, people in political office or somebody in political office who is not received salary, but still so generous that he can give out money to somebody he deems to be somebody in need. But then I'm asking myself whether this lady in question, whether she is an evangelist or a city priestess, whether we can count her as a poor person. Because we've also seen videos, her own shared videos of her opulent lifestyle. Then this person goes to him, asks for fuel money, and then is given what is believed to be a substantial amount of dollars. It doesn't look good, especially coming after the president's own injunction on his appointees to live by certain standards. So, for me, it raises the question of what is the source of the funds that he was giving out. And mind you, you can only give out gifts when you have enough for yourself and perhaps for your immediate family. So if you will give out such an amount, I don't know the quantum, but it can be said to be peanuts. If you can give such an amount, and especially in foreign currency, it creates an impression of opulence, which does not look good, for especially somebody who's been in office and perhaps, in all likelihood, has never received any salary from his position. So it calls for serious questions to be asked.
The fact that this creates some impression of opulence, do you foresee the president struggling to actually tackle this matter when it comes to sanctioning Sammy Gyamfi?
Well, it depends on how powerful he is in his party. If he's a very powerful individual in his party and he's got strong backers in his party, nothing is going to be done. But for me, I think it is up to President Mahama to take a firm stance on such an issue. Because this is how governments begin to lose public trust. When some of such occurrences happen and there's virtually no action taken, then people will begin to feel that it's all the same. Because, look, mind you, this country has suffered so much from corruption. And we all are aware of incidents. You are just recounting one where a government official was having so much money in their home. So you ask yourself, how much does he have for him to even keep so much in his vehicle and to give out so much? So these are critical questions because there is a history in this country. And we can go back to the days of President Nkrumah when people were having golden beds and all that. So it is a question that has bedeviled our governance for so many years, since independence. And we all agree that corruption is a canker. And mind you, we can never tell what somebody has until we see how much they spend.
Okay. Doc, before you go, I would come back to you on conversations about the Public Office Act. But Dr. Kabiru, I just want to wrap up with you. In the sanctions you are asking for, does his dismissal include?
Well, so the least the president can do is to ask for his suspension. And ultimately, if it is found that he's found himself as we believe that he has breached the law, then he has to go.
And you think that will be enough a deterrent?
I mean, that is what the punishment, because even the law says that if you do that, they should send you to prison for 18 months or a fine of not less than 700 penalty unit or both. Right? So if the law we believe and allege he has broken is established, that is the punishment. And once he goes to prison or fine, he cannot be a CEO of Gold Board. Otherwise, the president can just take the simple decision of say, okay, look, I'm relieving of your duty as a first major action I have to take in order for the Ghanaian people to believe that when it matters, I will act. If the president doesn't do that...
in an event where all these things are not done, what you're expecting,
well, so
what would you do?
It depends. The leadership of the minority will advise ourselves on the next call, but we have every other options available, including parliamentary tools, where the minister with the oversight responsibility will be called for us to have accountability. We have the legal route where we feel that, remember, a public officer has broken the rule. We can also actually activate the legal procedure. There are several cards on the table, and we'll take one at a time. We believe that the president will take action, and when he does, we believe everyone will see it to be fair and stern. If he doesn't, then it's a long road that will travel. But for us in the minority, we will not trust whatever the president says in terms of his fight against impunity, indiscipline, recklessness, and, if you like, misappropriation of public resources.
Okay. Thank you so much for making time to speak with us. That was the MP for Wale Wale, Dr. Kabiru Mahama. He's also a member of Parliament's Finance Committee, speaking with me on this particular matter. But let's wrap up with governance expert, Dr. Frederick Odrodok. Earlier this afternoon, Adam Senanu, an anti-graft campaigner, said that there was a need for the country to pass the Conduct of Public Officer Act as a matter of urgency concerning what is happening recently. What do you make of that? Do you think it's high time we take a look at that? We took a look at that, I beg your pardon.
I mean, we can't legislate everything in this country. If you look at the Constitution itself, it has got enough provisions concerning such matters that if we were to respect the Constitution alone, we have enough cover for that. I don't think it's a question of enacting another law to cover such issues. We have enough already. The point is about showing political will to crack that whip. I mean, over the years, our government, especially government, you were talking about the case of the former Minister for Sanitation. I mean, what happened? He only lost her job. And as we speak, nothing has happened to her. The Office of Special Prosecutor could not even take any serious action against it. So beyond losing her office, nothing was done. So the point for me is not about new law. I believe we have enough laws on our books to cover such matters. The issue is having the will, the political will by government to take the necessary action. If indeed there is a criminal act involved, it is the Attorney General who must take the step. If it is about political punishment, it is the President who must take the step. So at the end of the day, if even the police comes out to say we've established prima facie case and the Attorney General says I'm not going to prosecute, what would anybody say? So from my personal perspective, it is not about the law. It is about political will.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Frederick Odrodok. He's a governance expert speaking to me there. And that'll be all for Insight here on GHOne TV. You're welcome back. This is still News Tonight here on GHOne TV. Let's do other stories now. Commuters from Tema and Accra who patronize the services of railway company might have to find an alternative arrangement tomorrow. This is because workers of the company are up in arms against management over 7 months unpaid salaries. The workers have consequently threatened to shut down operations tomorrow if government fails to pay their outstanding arrears by close of the day. My colleague Ibrahim Al-Hassan caught up with the agitating workers earlier today.
We are here at the Accra office of the Railway Company Limited, where the workers of the company are agitating because from what we gather, for the past 7 months, they've not received their salaries. And they are here clad in red with placards, and they are demanding that they are paid or they get a word from management regarding their plight before close of day today.
Yeah, we are here. We have worked for the past 7 months without salary. And we have managed to convince the workers to always calm down and wait for when we will be paid. But I think 7 months is too much for us. And we can't even control them anymore. So that's why we are here to register our protest to the management for them to tell us when we will be paid. I rely on my wife. That one, I will tell you the truth. It's my wife who is taking care of myself and my 3 kids. You just imagine how the woman respects me in the house.
And now me bread. I'm a mere crowd with Gyamfi. That's an escarment. The same me bounce for university. Me channel is all Befi.
Masa, last year, Nanka Moffman Pian walk university. Because of that problem, one is also a motive yacht or CCR. And she past 7 months won't take her. And Tahani Ginano, Yama Aban, what Yanka there, said man, so I need ya on to no face come in. So I need ya on Omiano, Oman tell me and tea. My sister, the Yab, is a Obinu, Obinwa in GHOne. I put the eye look at more to Nadi. No ocean. Yes, Rabano. A Jubano, the Amanco Phobia or Monchasso. Bosume and so Alco Wakini, Yantiaka. And to say any year. Abaya Sano, or Majina Juma. On Yayaquan, Janko Trefi, Yabre, Ebinu Dipa, Yanyanum be Edipa, me Medibi, Minyanum be Suedibi, answer Yan Sakoyano. Yayan Masha, I just go deeper.
Yakobana, Renia, this is my bed, Juma, 36 years in a room. We pay for 2,000. This is a Yakwana Yaba. It's management, no government is standing my 2 Edmanosono. On va mamro for no man, and as our company in a group.
Ya Bobby Siana for you do baby, ya light to crack off. Ya does more than 3 months. You intimate your light be. Scan your dish with Nipa. Scan the chop one in more bar. It is a wound we yet man in your car. Obana Dian office a battery.
So that is it up from here. So some of the placards being wielded by the workers here. No salary for the past 7 months. Mr. President, railway workers are dying. And then, of course, we have poor conditions of service of railway workers. And reset railways now. And railways need restructuring now. These are some of the inscriptions on the placards wielded by the railway workers. Their concern is a simple one. For the past 7 months, they've not been paid salaries. Some of them have had their kids leaving school and coming home because they are unable to provide for their needs. Some of them have had to be depending on their wives, and as a result, they are unable to question the source of revenue.
Now, from labor unrest to illegal mining, because chiefs and farmers in the Ituwa East district of the Eastern region are calling for the immediate arrest of a notorious illegal miner whose operations are destroying farmland and threatening public safety. The miners allegedly operate with armed lanyards, mostly at night. Eastern regional correspondent has more in this report.
The illegal miner, identified only as Abeku, is accused of unlawfully taking over about 13 hectares of farmlands, claiming the land belongs to the chief of Ankase. However, the chief of Asamantamfwe Osabarima Kwameko disputes this assertion.
Someone from Ankase by name Abeku and his cohorts have been digging galamsey and taking the proceeds for themselves. The land doesn't belong to Ankasi people. And we don't even have any boundary with Ankasi. We have a boundary with Gyadem. Recently, I've seen that they are using Ankasi Gyadem, which has never happened anywhere. If you go to Chebi, there's no town named Ankasi Gyadem.
The situation escalated when some local farmers confronted the illegal miner at the Galamsey site, demanding an end to his activities. Lands belonging to Nana Adai Frempong Manson, the Nifahene of Asaman Tamfoy, other farmers have also been taken over by the Galamsey.
I show you past 72 assassin. I'm more a neon bush here. And casting you back, Ukrainian assassin, or Ankasi on. Until say, or Pubio Galamsa, a bacon Galamsey, and then watching every police watching. See, me who this year or your Galamsey. This you want your Galamsey. And a Galamsey no sono. On my year pretty. And I bet Pimine. One no bet could not say this year Galamsey, or no crew money a dear Galamsey. Yet two the cromons are singing, and a very pass a matter for F1 sassy. I bet could not sassy be any as a matter for her. Well, your crumb for honestly arrested no matter. Ah, bet Pimia, so then I will bet in Yabacasa has to be all the other Belkuni and Chairman. He come into hospital community. Now what branch here? Oh, and two women mobile. Oh, my many decided to be me. Ah, oh, my many man, I mean, you have baby me. Who bet him South Row with it? You have to call and say, me, I bet you from the Canto. We are saying, ah, Nakopa had a sort of show. And I do so with me. On Chao,
Meanwhile, Abeku's mining activities along the Osino bypass are posing serious danger to the ongoing road projects in the area. Sensing an imminent crackdown, Abeku has taken legal action, filing lawsuits at the Koforidua High Court against Ernest Owusu Intim, the newly nominated district chief executive, and several community leaders for allegedly attempting to trespass his land.
I want the police to arrest him. Have to arrest him.
For GHOne TV and Star FM, Kujo Answer, Eastern Region.
No place.
Well, in a shocking discovery near the Asankare police barrier in the Ashanti region has led to the arrest of a 25-year-old man found in possession of over 200 rounds of assaulted ammunition, military gear, narcotics, and what police describe as a talisman-embedded smoke. The suspect, Yusuf Muhammad, was intercepted following a tip-off raising fresh concerns about unlawful arms trafficking and rising threat to public security. I'll take a look.
This is the moment police displayed the disturbing cache of weapons, uniforms and narcotics found in the backpack of 25-year-old Yusuf Muhammad, arrested near the Asankare police barrier. Acting on intelligence, officers discovered 207 rounds of ammunition, including AK-47, G3, and CZ rounds, along with loaded and empty magazines, a bulletproof vest, military uniforms, and traditional smoke laced with talismans. Police say the suspect was traveling on a bus bound for Accra when the suspicious bag fell from the vehicle, triggering a swift police action. A search also uncovered dried leaves believed to be Indian hemp and some concoctions. Deputy Ashanti South Regional Commander ACP Safas Atta called the findings deeply troubling and praised the vigilance of officers and informants whose quick action prevented what could have been a dangerous outcome. Investigations are ongoing, with authorities probing possible connections to criminal groups and extremist elements. Yusuf Muhammad is currently in custody and will face charges including illegal possession of ammunition and narcotics.
Now on to a rather sad story. A deadly road incident in Asin North District of the Central Region has claimed 8 lives, with many others in critical condition. The accident occurred in the early hours of Monday, May 12, 2025, when a Yutong bus traveling from Kumasi to Cape Coast reportedly made a wrongful overtaking maneuver leading to the collision. The bodies of the passengers have been deposited at the St. Xavier Hospital in Asin Fusu for preservation and autopsy. Survivors with varying degrees of injury are also receiving treatment at the same facility, while some have been referred to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital for further medical care. Well, it's time for business now. And in business, local trading and producer groups have intensified calls for their members to reduce commodity prices following the recent appreciation of the cedi. The Ghana Union of Traders Association, GHOne, is the latest to added voice. In a statement, the association urged traders to pass the benefit of the cedi appreciation onto consumers by adjusting prices accordingly. Similarly, the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana believes a reduction in prices is fair and necessary. There's more in this report.
The Ghanaian cedi has recorded gains against major foreign currencies, particularly the US dollar. This development has prompted several trade and producer groups to call for a reduction in commodity prices, arguing that import costs have decreased and consumers deserve relief. While the move is widely welcomed, challenges remain in actual implementation. Economist Dr. Ba Ayekusi, speaking to GHOne TV, endorsed the initiative and urged traders to reflect the new economic reality in their pricing.
I think it's only a right call for GHOne to actually call its members to be able to reduce their prices. The conversation has been that whenever there is a depreciation in the cedi, one of the key things that traders use as a trump card to increase prices is depreciation of the cedi. In that same way, or in that same vein, if the cedi has gained value, it is appreciated, then it's a right call for GHOne to remind its members that there has been some appreciation and therefore prices will have to come down for consumers to benefit. Remember that business goes on well when there are large volumes and not just one-time sales at higher prices. So I think it's a large call, it's a very good call for GHOne to put its members in the reminder that there's a need for a price reduction in the goods that they are selling. In any case, once it appreciates, it means that the value of products will have to come down. So I think it's a right call.
Meanwhile, the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, FABAG, has echoed similar sentiment. Its president, Sammy.
Well, traders at the Makola market are refusing to lower prices of their goods until transportation costs are reduced. We had a conversation with some of them earlier. Take a listen.
And remember when you play near the phone and you $7, and so no boarding, Papa. Pineapple, no watermelon, I'm at home. Woman, you no boarding. Walk or can one say all fair, a bin to say a sissy, and the same equal boarding. And to no money, the Monteso, and no man now, your tongue man, Yanteso, Crofona Bomudino, Buto se Butano, or Monteso cry, Uncle Siaga, Nipona, your woman, Yanteso, Butao, Salutao, maybe you see at the Patroso, the Lola Family deba, Yanteso, and the Lola Fairness, Minima Messumeteso. Yakofanya mana domoji and sound omoji tiesu anyama yabetu ne yabeto na body ene yabeto na chen mu be hwe petrol na lorry for above na aduane ni mbu na nkro obi kita 50 Ghana on timi to banchi ni mokoni nya ado apo nua niema mu ayedin pa adom bi keke intimi kofa na body no obi kita 5 so beto kwa mi intimi man mi sumi yamu shishim sempese mbu amati ni bu edi mi toni sa ensu intimi man.
That's it for business. It's time for sports now. Benghazi is in the studio with the very latest with sports. Benghazi, what do you have?
Well, unfortunately, I've got some bad news for all of us. The Black Satellites are out of the ongoing championship being held. They need to have details of that and other sports is coming up after this short turnaround. So Ghana has been dumped out by host nation Egypt through a penalty shootout after the quarter-final game. We're ending 2-0 after 2-2, I should say, after extra time. The Satellites came from 2 goals down to draw level. Goals from Abdulaziz Issa and Abdul Suleimana. Ghana, however, fell short as they lost 4-5 on penalties to the Egyptian nationals. Therefore, missed out on securing a slot at the upcoming FIFA Under-20 World Cup that will be held in Chile later on this year. Unfortunately, again, Ghana not making it to the Mundial after we lost to the host nation Egypt in the quarterfinals by a penalty shootout after the game ended 2-2 between Ghana and the Egyptian national side. From football, let's do some volleyball, where we won the 13th Rugby Championship. Saw Martin Boabeng, captain and defending champions, led his teammates to secure a win over Panthers Rugby Stadium over the weekend in week 1 of the season. Now, captain for Bulls, Martin Boabeng believes Panthers were opponent, but needed to keep the momentum and discipline, hence the win.
It was a tough game. We started well, we dropped, energy went down, and we came back again. We did a comeback because we kept on pushing hard. The hard work and the discipline played on our side. We stuck to the basics and we listened to our coach. Okay. We'll go back to training and still work on stuff and improve. We have more improvement to make because we have other matches coming. We need to improve. Okay. Panthers they tried, but they failed. Better luck to them next time. And good game, guys. Still on paging boost.
We had a second half, which they gave us a good grab for our money. I think the build up to this game, we were really ready for them in the first half. That's why we really smashed them in the first half. But when we realized that we had them, I think we slowed down. But it's a lesson. That means our starters can our finishes. Scholars always use this.
That should be it for us. Back to you today for the rest of the bulletin.
Thank you so much, Benjamin, for bringing us sports stories. Now it's time for GHOne. A Ghanaian poet and creator of Mansa World, Chief Moomin, has called for an active theatre centre as the country aims to be one of the best tourist destinations on the continent. According to him, live theatre experiences are one of the most effective ways to boost tourism and promote the creative arts industry. Chief Moomin made the remarks in an interview during the exhibition of his latest production.
As part of efforts to improve theatre experience and tourism in Ghana, Mansa World, a storytelling platform endorsed by UNESCO, held a debut exhibition showcasing the evolution of the art theatrical production over the past decade. The exhibition featured photographs of costumes from their latest production, Mansa Musa and the Trail of Lost Gold, as well as highlights from their previous projects, such as the Wobejeke series. The creator of Mansa World, Chief Moomin, emphasized the importance of an active theater experience in Ghana and their efforts to draw more people to the country through their storytelling initiatives.
One of the things that can really promote our Ghanaian tourism is the content, because we know that Ghana, one of the things that we can sell very much is heritage tourism. And so if we have rich productions like some of us do, in our part of the country, it will be one of the things on the tourism menu that when people come, they would experience. And so, yes, whether through my productions or through some of the productions done by my friends, what we need is an active theater scene. One of the ways that we can improve our tourism, industry and generally the creative arts is to have productions like these running on a regular.
He also mentioned potential collaboration with government's Black Star Experience initiative to further promote the country.
Storytellers have an important role to play, right? It's not just about going to see the site, but it's also about the concerts that they go to, the theater performance that they go to. When you have such a rich offering, a rich menu, that would really be good for the industry. And so, yes, we're looking to, partner with the Black Star Experience, activation, whatever way we can. We're witnessing a transformation in the creative sector in our country and in our continent. Some of us think that this is one of the sectors that can help create great employment for the team.
Let's have international news now.
The Mansa Musa project.
Now, front, global markets rallied following news that the United States and China have agreed to significantly cut tariffs, easing weeks of escalating trade tensions. U.S. President Donald Trump described the weekend talks in Switzerland as a total reset, with both sides agreeing to suspend or reduce major tariffs for a 90-day period. Under the agreement, U.S. tariffs on Chinese import will fall from 145% to 30%, while China will reduce its tariff on U.S. goods from 125% to 10%. Both countries have also agreed to cancel retaliatory levies imposed since what Washington called Liberation Day. While some tariffs remain, U.S. analysts say the deals marks a turning point. And that'll be all for the news on GHOne TV. With me, Awisi, Dede, Djangay. Have a wonderful evening.